Okay, so I guess it's time to talk about it. We're going to be talking about what happened in the Scotland versus South Africa game yesterday at Murrayfield. So, Scotland kicked off, and quite early on, South Africa got a penalty around the 2nd minute because Scotland immediately collapsed the first scrum of the game. I think it was literally Scotland's first time on the ball. We just knocked the ball on and gave away a scrum, which isn't what you want to do when you're playing South Africa. And South Africa put the ball into touch for a line-out. And then a couple of minutes later, they had a driving maul. I think, was it from that? It might have been from that. Around the 4th minute, they had a driving maul. They didn't manage to score from that, but they went phase after phase after phase. They didn't manage to cross the line, but they did have an advantage, so it went back for another penalty, and they went for touch again. But after that, they didn't manage to score. Scotland managed to get the ball back, and they did manage to clear their lines, meaning that it was still 0-0 at this point. Then around the 10th minute, Scotland gave away another penalty at the scrum. This is pretty much just an outline for the day. South Africa won pretty much every scrum with a penalty or an advantage or something like that. Scotland just couldn't handle the South African scrum. And then around the 12th minute, South Africa got another penalty with Chris Harris going in high, and they went for the corner again. It's, once again, not opting for the 3 points. Then around the 16th minute, Scotland did manage to get the ball back right on their line. Under pressure, Finn Russell passes it out wide to Duhan van der Merwe, who managed to step inside and run about halfway up the pitch to about the halfway line, where Scotland did manage to win a penalty and opted for posts, where Finn Russell slotted it in from about 40 metres out, and Scotland actually took a 3-0 lead in this game, with all the pressure being Scotland. South Africa had all of the ball, but Scotland managed to get the first points and took a 3-0 lead. And then a couple minutes later, Scotland got another penalty and went for posts as well. I think it was Willie LaRue didn't release the tackle or something like that. Got another penalty, went for posts again, but it drifted wide and Russell didn't get the points. So it was still 3-0 at this point. And around the 23rd minute, it gets levelled up where South Africa won a penalty and Yanties went for posts, and it made it 3-3. Then in the 29th minute, South Africa get the first try through Mapimpi. It probably really shouldn't have been a try. He should have been tackled. McLeod stepped in to sort of cover a man who's already covered, and Mapimpi managed to get around him and go up, and then it's Mapimpi, so of course he scored. But yeah, it was a nice try from them. They did have a slight overlap there, I guess, but Scotland should have dealt better with that, but they didn't, and South Africa took advantage of I guess an inexperienced player on the right wing and managed to get over and score. And Yanties didn't get the kick, making it only 8-3 on around the half-hour mark. Then around the 35th minute, Scotland scored a try. It was a bit mental. Finn Russell, for some reason, all day kept trying these kicks that weren't really going forward. They were kind of going backwards over to Van der Merwe. So he did a couple of those. In the first one, he went out and then it came back in. I think Scotland had an advantage at this point and then went out again. And they managed to make a little break up the line, pass it in, pass it back out. And then when they tried to pass it back in, a South African player got his hand to it and sort of knocked it back. And it just fell into Stuart Hogg's hands. Managed to get over and score the try. It was checked for a forward pass, I think, but it was decided it was fine. And Russell got the extra points to make it 10-8 to Scotland on the 35th minute mark. And that is how it ended at half-time. Scotland were leading 10-8 at half-time. So it was looking good from a Scotland perspective at that point. But also just before half-time, South Africans brought on the bomb squad. So we were sitting there thinking, oh shit, this isn't going to go well now, is it? And it didn't. In the 43rd minute, just after half-time, Mapimpi gets his second try for South Africa. He ran up the left touchline after an offload from Damien Dealindi, but Yanties got the kick and made it 15-10 to the world champions. There was something weird seemed to happen. It seemed like the ref was going to check something, or it looked like there might have been a forward pass or something like that. But South Africa took the kick quite quickly, and the ref hadn't stopped the clock or anything yet, so he wasn't able to check it anymore, and so the try stood. I didn't look at it close enough to really tell if it was forward or not. But yeah, at that point, it's 15-10 10 to South Africa. So South Africa get a couple penalties after that where they slot them over the post to make it 21-10, where they just keep trying to extend that lead ahead of Scotland and just make it comfortable for them. But on around the 60th minute mark, Hogg gets his second try of the game. It was from a line-out where we went wide, managed to manipulate the defence to get an overlap, and Hogg just ran right into that far corner and scored his second try of the game. But Finn Russell missed the conversion, and that's something that happened a lot in this game. Finn Russell not looking good off of the boot yesterday. On around the 69th minute mark, Pollard has come off the bench now. They get another penalty, and he slots it over to make it 24-15, just further extending the lead. And then again, about a minute or two later, Frans Steyn has come off the bench. They get a penalty on the halfway line, and he just slots that over, making it 27-15 at that point. And then right at the end of the game, the 77th minute mark, the Springboks get another penalty after Scotland collapse at the scrum again and they just couldn't cope with the South African scrum all day. Kick for posts again, booting them more than 2 scores ahead to make it 30-15 to South Africa, and that is how the game ended. There were periods in the game where it was quite even. Scotland did have points where they were on top, but overall, South Africa were on top for most of it. South Africa deserved to win. Scotland missed 10 points in kicks in that game, missing 2 conversions and 2 penalties, which, I mean, you can't do that against South Africa and expect to beat them. So, yeah, that wasn't great from the kicking of Finn Russell. He's been fairly good recently. He was really good in the Lions tour, but today he just was not on it, and he needed to be better at kicking today. He just needed to be for Scotland to have a chance in this game, but they didn't have that chance. They didn't really have a platform of a set piece to work with because of how strong South Africa's scrum was, and South Africa fully deserved the win. And yeah, I think there was a bit of poor choices in team selection. I think Rufus McLean looked a bit out of his depth on the right wing, and I probably would do a better option to go for Darcy Graham with his better experience. But Matt Scott was all right in the middle. I didn't really see him do much, but I didn't really see him do much wrong either, personally. So yeah, I think it wasn't too bad a performance from Scotland. It was just some key areas like the set piece wasn't working properly and our kicking wasn't great. I mean, our in-field kicking was pretty good, but our goal kicking was just not good enough to be competing with a team like South Africa. But yeah, South Africa fully deserved that win of 30-15. Scotland could have done better. Stuart Hogg, actually, with his 2 tries in this game, has become Scotland's joint top try scorer of all time. So if he gets 1 more try, he'll be Scotland's definitive all-time top try scorer, which will be good for him. But yeah, that is my review of the game, going through what happened, and I think South Africa fully deserved the win. Please do tell me what you think about this game in the comment below. Do you think they deserved it? How do you think Scotland did? How do you think South Africa did? What do you think both teams need to do to improve on how they're playing? South Africa probably don't need to do much. Scotland probably needs to do a bit. But if you enjoyed it, please give a big thumbs up and subscribe if you're new around here. But as always, guys, have a great day. See ya.